Notification volume 0%.
Good afternoon, and welcome to More Than Meets the Eye. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and this thing purring and sleeping over here in the corner is Cream the Cat. He seems pretty worn out. He got caught in a thunderstorm earlier today. Yes, you did. So, I wanted to talk to you today about Transformers Studio Series 86 Leader Class Sludge. Here he is with his other Dinobot buddies. So far, we have Grimlock, we have Slag, and we have Sludge. Now, Sludge and Grimlock are actually about the same height. I explained in my shorts video that Sludge and Grimlock are basically the same height. And yeah, there's like a millimeter difference between them, but not much at all. These guys are just two big bruisers. Interestingly enough, though, Sludge is a heavier figure. He's got more plastic in him. You know, I get Slug here, and Slug's all right with the weight, but yeah, we're going to talk full in this. Let's switch this guy over, and let's see how they look with Grimlock in the front. Hey, get your gun. Okay, your gun hand is in the right spot, but your gun hand is not in the right spot. Let's switch that out real quick so we can get a nice little view. Yeah. Give me your gun. Okay, now we're going to switch it over here to this hand. Yep. Switch it. No, don't collapse in. I want you to... You gotta almost hurt your finger, making sure these guns go in the right spots, because his hand keeps trying to collapse in. There we go. There's a nice comparison of the three together. Yes. I want to hear about the bats, cop. That movie's great. Okay, so, and just because there's a little bitty Earthrise Bumblebee walking around amongst the Autobots, or the Dinobots, you can lay him on the ground and then have Grimlock step on him. You can do whatever you want with the Earthrise Bumblebee. It was a little too expensive. So let's get these bigger guys out of the way here. Move over here, Slag. There you go. And don't fall. He's about the worst when it comes to standing. Okay. Next is Grimlock. Come on, Grimlock. Grimlock, you go there. And finally, we're going to talk about this guy, Studio Series 86 Sludge. And we'll talk first about his knees, because everybody seems to be upset about Sludge's knees. And yes, if I grab Grimlock here again, yeah, that's Grimlock. If I grab Grimlock's knees they're a hard ratchet. And if I do Slag's knees here, he is a hard clicky ratchet. And then we come over here to Sludge, and Sludge is a soft ratchet. And many people are upset by this because Sludge is actually the heaviest of the Dinobots, and understandably so. You would be very worried about a very soft ratchet knee when you have such a heavy figure. It's going to be a lot of weight on these knees. So I would advise being careful with the knees and not using them too much to pose with, because you don't want to wear that ratchet down any more than it's already been worn down. The hips are pretty nice, so you can use the hips for some nice posability. The hip ratchets are spot on. But no, the knee ratchets aren't broken. I was worried about that when I got mine, and it just turns out that the ratchets are very soft. It's very soft ratchets. Isn't that right, Cream? Yeah. You just passed out over here, aren't you, buddy? Yes, you are. So, let's continue talking about this guy now that we've gotten that bit out of the way. That's honestly, like, when it comes to this guy, there's a few things that I don't like about him. I'll be straight up and honest about that. One is I do think that they could have done a harder knee ratchet, but at the same time, you know, I'm just happy there is a ratchet there, because not everything in Transformers has a ratchet on its knee. Let's just grab a random Transformer. Let's see. This guy, this random Transformer right here. Bulkhead. Bulkhead doesn't have any ratcheted knees. Bulkhead's knees just have a very, very tight hinge. No ratchet there, though. So even though his hinge is a bit looser, it's still a ratchet. So there's that. You got that added stability in there. Um, Now let's talk about the things I like to talk about with these guys. We'll cover siege ports first because I absolutely love siege ports. So on his forearm, we get no siege port. Now let's get some sort of gun to. No, I dropped that one. All right, let's get this gun. Yeah, this gun will work. Mirage's gun. Cool. Let's see. We've got no siege port on the forearm, sadly enough, which would have been cool in the dinosaur mode. We've got a siege port on the shoulder, though. It does work. Works pretty well. And unlike Bulkhead's shoulder siege port, it doesn't spin freely, which is always a nice thing. And your wing has collapsed a little bit. There we go. So that's 4 siege ports for each arm. We spin him around to the back, and we're going to find out that there's nothing back here, siege port wise. We could pick up the head for the nope, nothing back there siege port wise. And oh, don't do that. There you go. Fall correctly, you crazy head. Let's go to the lower legs. We've got siege port action on the side of the leg here. Actually, no. Not a siege port at all. There's a circle here where I think a siege port may have been planned for, because they've got a weird circle bit right there. But that's it. Like molding wise, it feels like this comes up in there. There could have been a siege port right there, but there wasn't. On the front of the leg, we've got no siege ports. And what about on the underside of the legs? We've got 1 and 2 siege ports. So for the most part, this guy is now the least siege porty character. You don't even have siege ports on your crazy wings that fill up half of your body? That's a missed opportunity. Look at this. Look at these things. In his dinosaur mode, this covers like, a good quarter of his body on each side. They could have given us siege ports there. They could have given us siege ports so we could have weaponized our sludge and have him like walking around as a brontosaurus carrying all the cannons. Like Titanus from Power Rangers. It's just missed opportunity right there. Missed opportunity to put a bunch of weapons on a brontosaurus. Who doesn't want a brontosaurus walking around with a bunch of crazy powerful weapons on its back? I mean, anybody who's against that brontosaurus doesn't want that happening, but all the people on the brontosaurus' side are going to love it. And honestly, me as a fan, I'd love it. I think that would just be cool. I'd always have him like that. Good grief, Green. You're just stretched out all over the place. You're huge. So that's him with the siege ports. Now let's talk about his articulation. He's got full shoulder articulation, and the shoulders can both, he can raise his arms up and down. So that's really cool. Sadly, though, no butterfly. But then again, you wouldn't expect that. Though, I just realized that there's 2 siege pegs on these arms. There's 1 on each side, which is totally random. But, yeah, there's siege pegs there. And come down here to his arm. He's got a non-ratcheted elbow. And that's really all the his arm does twist at the bicep swivel. And his hand does rotate 360 degrees, as well as collapse in on itself. So be careful with that. It doesn't lock in very well. And that's another little flaw with this figure. And there's a few little flaws with it, but you gotta, when you pull this hand out, you've got to press your thumb and forefinger on either side of that lower arm area to really make sure that the hand gets gripped in and locked into place. So that's the arm, and it's not got the greatest posability. Like, we have definitely seen better posability in the Studio Series line than this. But it does have a very tight ratchet right there. But that ratchet doesn't allow for much movement, which is super sad. I would have liked to see more. I mean, you can spin it 360 degrees, and then you can have the arm like that, but then there's no elbow articulation. So I don't think you would want that. Not 360 degrees, 180 degrees. And I do appreciate the fact that this hand does swivel. And then, immediately the problem is that these dinosaur claws don't fold backwards. You would think they would fold backwards upon the arm so that when, this character could hold more items, but they're very limited by the items they can hold because they have this big flat thing like that. Like, Grimlock here, yeah, your Grimlock. Grimlock here has something similar with his hands, but his claws can actually fold forwards over the hands. And that's kind of cool, but that was in the G1 thing, and it honestly made no sense to me. So I don't know why they had it continue with this one. It would have been cooler if these feet were to be able to fold backwards upon the armor, and then you would have like an arm that has these crazy silver claws or something running down it. It's a missed opportunity. Cream, what are you? No, you knocked over Slag. Look, don't you damage anything over there, Cream. He's gone in kind of no cat territory, so we'll worry about him later. We'll continue with the explanation on his articulation. He's got a nice swivel for his waist, and he's got some amazing waist action. His legs can move back and forth. Though I hate that they never put that on a ratchet. It is so annoying, and it can move forward and backwards. But that side to side motion isn't on a ratchet, and is almost as loose as the Ultra Magnus mold, which does worry me when it comes to this guy, doing splits. I do worry about that. Then we get to the knees. He doesn't have any double knee action, and the knees only pull. They only pull like 75. They can fold forwards a 90, which totally is weird. It's odd that the knees do that, and you would think they'd put some sort of like shielding over there, but I don't think there was any in the actual cartoons. So there's that. Okay, foot-wise, he does have the ankle pivot that we are all used to, and you can rotate at the thigh 360 degrees. So it's got 360 degree rotation at the thigh for each leg, and yeah, that's about it. So what about the molding on this guy? Well, that's where this one is thriving a lot. You got this really cool tail molding going on either side of the legs, where the tail folds up and you get these little rectangular spikes that stick on the back of the tail and go up the back of the robot mode, which you can feel on the back of his legs as well. There's the remnants of those spikes, and that's really cool. I really love that they've managed to mold the, like a dinosaur types network with metal. So it isn't scaly like you would expect an 80s dinosaur to be, but it's smooth. Except that that smoothness is all just steel, because remember, this was a unique robot in that the Dinobots were created for their alt modes first, robot modes second in the show. Like they were trying to make Cybertronian dinosaurs in the G1 show. That's why they look the way they do. They are a robot's idea of dinosaurs from Earth. And I love the fact that it's like that weird separation. So we're going to continue with the molding. The upper leg thighs area, I wish they had done a little more on the molding job there. It doesn't have much. It's very minimal. And then the thigh area has some decent molding. You get some really cool stuff going on there. And then we come up to the chest, where he's got this big square right there in the very center of his chest, which I'm assuming is his Autobot symbol, because it's nice and smooth, and it's actually, whoa, can I? Yeah, that is an Autobot symbol, isn't it? I can kind of feel that with my fingernail. Neat. That's actually really well done. The texture on either side of the chest piece is very nice. I mean, this guy they did a good job with all the texturing and making him into the Brontosaurus we all love. And here is his faceplate, and it's pretty good. You can feel that he's got his visors in there. I think he has visors, and then he's actually got a sort of mouth going on in there, and yeah, it's really cool. I have to say that Hasbro keeps getting better with these face sculpts. I sometimes wish I could see just so I could enjoy them so much, but the fact that I can just feel them out is pretty amazing. And I love how his face resembles more of a somebody who actually put on a helmet, like some old European style medieval helmet. on his head. That's really cool. And of course, he's got his wings in the back that fly and allow him to be a flying Autobot, one of the few flying Autobots out there. Yeah, guys, this is Slag. He is a hefty guy. He is made out of decent plastic that we've witnessed for a while now. Though I have to say that his tail bits, the ones that fold down from the sides of his legs and actually become the tips of his tails, are made out of a different plastic, and that is kind of annoying. I would have liked it to have been made out of a better plastic. But I mean, they had to cut costs somewhere, and they had to make sure they could get this guy in the size because this guy's already pretty big, and with his size and everything, I am on the crowd of people that thinks that this should have been a commander class, and they should have put a little more oomph into it and given us our first Studio Series 86 commander class, which would have been Sludge here, because that would have been a really amazing figure to have. Though their constant want to make this exactly like the G1 transformation just updated is a little annoyed. That is a little annoying. But we'll talk about transformation on the transformation video. Anyway, guys, this is Sludge. And if you have the other Dinobots, I recommend picking this guy up. And if you don't have any of them, go ahead and pick him up too. He's the long neck dinosaur. He's a cool dinosaur. He is he the one that likes Selenium Salami? Or is he the one that likes Beryllium Bologna? I can't remember. Anyway, tune in next Pride on our Blindformers episode. Well, I will be teaching you how to transform this big guy from robot mode to long neck dinosaur mode. And stay tuned for other things coming down the line. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and please share. And if you can spare it, I have a GoFundMe listed in a pinned comment below. If you could click on that link and either share that link around with your friends, or give me $1 or something like that, that'd be amazing. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye bye for now.